Welcome to the Inviting Shift podcast. I am your host, Christina Smith, and this is perhaps my favorite topic, setting a new vision for a new year. And this could be a new year, a new month, a new week, whatever you want to do, how often you want to do it. I think it is one of the most beautiful things. So the first step was to release and be clear about the past. We did that in episode 16. Go back to that if you have skipped that. But this is about moving forward. Now that we're clear where we are and what's important to us now, we can move into creating a new vision. And this is all about intentional living. So the most important thing that we're going to come up with today is our actual intentions. But we can't start there because we have to wonder, how do we get to intention? What does that mean? How do I know what it is that I need to bring with me and how I need to show up? So we're going to have several steps here. There is a worksheet to help you figure it all out, to block it all out and journal it down. I invite you to go download that now. If you do that, you'll get the release podcast and this podcast and both sets of worksheets. So go do it now, one sign in, and you'll get all of those things instantaneously. But first, we're going to start with a vision. So the easiest things for us humans to do is to visualize what it is that we want. Our brain goes so quickly to what it is that it looks like that this is often the easiest thing. Sometimes we start with not this. And that is a completely human way of trying to get clarity. That is almost the first step of clarity, is not this. But not this is not clarity in itself. Not this is telling us how we could solve this current situation. What I want us to do is imagine that we are so clear right now that we don't need to get rid of anything. We are looking for something. So what is it, if you could wave your magic wand in the next year, that you could actually accomplish, that you actually want to accomplish? Maybe there's a new home that you're looking for, a new job, or maybe you want to connect to your children more, or your family more, or your friends more. Whatever it is that you truly, really want in your heart right now, just start envisioning it. You might even close your eyes and do a little visualization and imagining what your day would look like each day. Imagining the kind of mood you want to be in every day, the things you want to see around you, the people you want around you, and the accomplishments you might want to make, or changes in your life that you'd want to make. And we're not looking at solving problems, we're looking at ideal. So what is the ideal way that your life would show up? And realistically, I know that a lot of us will say that we want to go live on a beach for the rest of our lives and do nothing. And I also know that a lot of those same people couldn't possibly live on a beach for the rest of their lives and do nothing. They would make themselves crazy. So what is it that your ideal world would look like? Beautiful. What would you do with your day? Beautiful. We'll come back. And now that you've visualized this world, what are some key ingredients that are there? These are your goals. That new house, that connected family, that financial abundance, that creativity, the learning. This is your goal. So list down some of the goals that you have. Pause if you need to. And then close your eyes again and look at this world where all your goals have come true. The end of the next year or the next period that you're doing a review and a intention setting for. And see those accomplishments as if they are already done. See those changes and shifts as if they are already done. And then tell me, how does it feel in your body to have accomplished all this? To have made all these changes? To have shifted all of these things that right now you're wanting? What would it feel like if they came to fruition? And if you don't have feeling words, you can come up with any type of word that describes those feelings. You may not be as connected to your feelings, but do the best you can. If you feel like clean and refreshed, it might be trickling water. It doesn't have to be a feeling word. But get words that relate to that feeling, that connect to that feeling. Great. And take a breath and come back. And I'm wondering, what were those feeling words that you came up with? And here's why this is so important as we move into the second step. I believe that intentions are easily made from what it is that we want. And what we truly want isn't what's on that vision board or in our vision. What we truly want is the feeling that we think we're going to have when we get that thing or when that thing comes to fruition. We are going to feel a certain way. That is our true desire. That is truly what we want. It's not the physical thing. It is the feeling we hope to get when we get there. So the easiest thing to do for intention is to bring it along with you. Because here's the thing. Most of us have said in the past, I'll be happy when. I'll be happy when I graduate college. I'll be happy when I have my first job. I'll be happy when I get a promotion. I'll be happy when I have a house. I'll be happy when I have a family. And yet, I don't know if you're like me, but when I got there, I wasn't happy. And the reason was I didn't practice happy on the way there. I didn't bring it with me. We can only get to the feelings that we bring with us. So, now that we know how our vision wants to feel, those can become our intentions. Now, if you had a ton of words come up, I highly recommend that you limit them to 3 to 5 feeling words or feeling phrases so that you have a focus. When we have more than 5, it starts to become too much. There's nothing to focus on because we're focusing on everything. So 3 to 5 words tops, and how it is that you want to feel next year, and that becomes our intention. So for example, if I thought that my goals were going to bring me to compassion, security, and love, then I need to bring compassion, security, and love with me. So what that means is you're like, how can you bring that with you? Well, what I mean by that is that we are going to show up with compassion, security, and love. So I'm going to show up with compassion, security, and love for myself. I'm going to show up with compassion, security, and love for other people. I am going to do things in a way that model compassion, security, and love. I am going to plan things in a way that I can be compassionate and secure and loved. So every choice that we make is going to start to align with these intentions. And the beauty of this is that if they become our intentions and that's what we're focused on, we get to feel those ways every day, not just when we get there. And the most beautiful part about that is that I get to choose them. And it also means that if the goal doesn't show up exactly the way that I want it to, because usually with goals, there's external forces, external people that need to help with those goals, things I can't control. If I can look back and say, I approached that goal with compassion, security, and love, I can still feel good about myself, even if it didn't show up the way I wanted it to. So here's the intentions is the way that we start judging ourselves on what we actually can control, rather than failure versus success or how far I got when I can't control all of the things. So I'm not judging myself on things that I know I can't control all of. I get to review myself on how did I show up to it? Did I bring the energy I said I was going to bring? Did I show up in a way that was in alignment with what I truly wanted? Compassion, security, and love. This also means it makes it so much easier to know how we want to show up. We are no longer showing up the way that other people want us to, or we think that other people want us to. Instead, we're showing up with what's most in alignment with who we want to be. So some people have a word of the year. These intentions become our words of the year. They're our feelings of the year. This is what we're aiming for: compassion, security, and love. Isn't it beautiful when we get some of our other goals too? Absolutely. But what I am going to focus on, what I am going to put my energy into, is being compassionate, secure, and loved. And that means I am responsible for that. Now, some of you might come up with words that are admired or loved. Well, we can't control how other people view or feel about us, but we can offer that to ourselves. So if admired and loved comes up for you, I invite you to change those to the nouns admiration and love. Can I have admiration and love for myself? I sure can. And chances are, if I give myself admiration and love, I am going to feel more of that. And I'm also going to see it more in other people. Sometimes we're not getting what we want because we don't really believe we're worthy of it. Or we're not giving it to ourselves, so it's hard to see when other people are offering it to us as well. So just keep in mind that this isn't about making everything outside of us work for compassion, secure, and love. This is about us showing up with that energy, modeling that energy, making choices and decisions and plans and goals that are all in alignment with that energy. Does it mean that we're always going to get what we want? Nope. There may be times where we're putting a lot of compassion and love out there and we just aren't feeling it. So that's when we give that compassion and love to ourselves. So that's what intentions are. Intentions are how we want to show up to it. So again, I'd love you to limit them to 3 to 5. If you have a lot more, take a moment, take a breath, close your eyes, and bring one in. So for example, I can bring in compassion. What does compassion feel like? And I can feel it in my body. Notice the shift in my body, the energetic shift that might happen. And do that with each one of your words. The right ones are the ones that light you up the most. Light you up the most, the ones that you're most excited about. Those are your words. So choose 3 to 5 that make you feel the best. And then we move on to action. So for me, the goals aren't that important once I have decided what my intentions are. I don't need to know exactly how they look, because usually when we have expectations around goals, we can get so detail oriented that if it shows up with a blue bow instead of a red bow, we might be a little pissed. So the goals aren't as important to me. What's most important to me is the intention. The goal gives the direction in which I want to travel. The intention is giving me how I want to travel. That is my transportation. I am traveling with compassion, security, and love. That is my transportation. The actions are how I travel down that path, meaning going around the obstacles, managing the hard things, right? So the actions are the steps that are going to lead me in the direction of my goal while keeping my intentions in mind. It means that if I really hate doing something one way, I might find another way to do it. Or I might just pour a lot of love and compassion on myself and go, come on, Christina, you got to buckle up. This one's going to be hard and we're going to get through it. Right? So action steps. What are the things that you can control and do in order to get towards that goal? And then I also want us to be aware of, right, is the blocks and the conflicts that are going to come up. And surely if all these goals were super, super easy, they probably wouldn't still be goals, right? We would have done them by now. So it's really important for us to understand what types of blocks are going to come up. What are the inner conflicts that are going to come up? What is the resistance I'm going to have to doing some of the things that are harder than others? And if we can keep those in mind, it's not to scare us. It's to be realistic about it. Here's some of the things that could happen. Here's some of the steps I'm going to have to do that I can feel inside I'm not wanting to do. But if I really want to get to that goal, how can I do those things in a way that is in alignment with my intentions so that I can feel that compassion, love, and security while I'm doing those hard things? This is about being honest with ourselves. This is not about coming up with the worst case scenarios. This is about dealing with the inner conflicts. I can feel my resistance to that idea. It doesn't mean that it's a bad idea. It means that with every great idea, great accomplishment, there are some things that we don't necessarily want to do or deal with, or that we feel are easy, right? The things that are hard are going to feel heavier to us. So this is just about becoming aware of them so that we can look at them. And what I'd love you to do with these blocks is start looking at them and, coming up with solutions. Here's 5 things I can try when those blocks come up. Maybe it's about just stop thinking about it and just go do the dang thing. Maybe it's about a way to prep yourself, motivate yourself into doing them. Maybe it's just you putting on your courage pants and moving through it. So you get to choose, but it's important to be aware of the blocks. If not, we walk into the next year and we wonder why we're not getting anywhere. Beautiful. And then lastly, how am I going to keep myself focused on these intentions? And sure, you can write mantras, positive intentions, but what I really want you to do is think of ways in which you can keep these intentions with you. The most important thing is the intention, because again, that's what we want behind all those visions that we had. So if the most important thing is intention, how can I remind myself to use them? That might mean posting my intentions in every room of my house. It might mean posting them on my phone screen so that they're always coming up. It might mean setting up reminders every day that remind me to check in with my intention, to check in with how I'm doing and am I in alignment right now with my intentions? It might be journaling every day. It might be coming up with a way that you can use each of your intentions each week. It might be planning around them. Whatever it is, I want you to come up with ways that you can remind yourself of intentions. And I had one client that had bracelets that she would put on every day, and each one of those bracelets represented a different one of her intentions. So her way of focusing was each morning when I put on those intentions, I literally put on those intentions and I feel them and I focus on them. These words are going to become your magic words, these intentional words. They're what's going to get you more in alignment with what it is that you actually want. So I invite you that when you have your intentions, that you do a little prayer or a ritual, or bring in your deity, source, universe, spirit guides, whatever. Share these intentions with them. And if you're one of my clients and you work with archetypes, you might want to have a conversation with your archetypes, all your different energies about this is what we're focused on. And then see what each thinks about it. So for example, if I tell my mother archetype that compassion, security, and love is my intention this year, she might have some feedback to that, right? She might have some ways of saying, well, that sounds really good. Whereas my warrior might go, I can do security, but I don't know about compassion and love. You might have to go elsewhere for that, right? So we want to have these conversations with our archetypes if that's something that you are comfortable with. But if not, start looking at all the areas of your life. How can I bring compassion, love, and security to my livelihood, my work, and my work decisions? How can I bring compassion, love, and security to my connections, to my family, to my friends? How can I bring these intentions into how I take care of myself? How can I bring these intentions to how I stay spiritually connected? All of these different areas. And how we're going to use them is not only to plan these goals and the action steps, but we're also going to use them in how we live every day. If compassion, love, and security are my intentions, how do I want to wake up in the morning? What do I want to do in the morning? What do I want to eat for breakfast? Where do I want to eat breakfast? Maybe with whom I eat breakfast. So we can really look at them. So one additional thing that I invite you to do, that I've invited my clients to do in their half day, was to imagine that each of these intentional words are a person or a character of some type. And if compassion was a woman, how would she show up in life? How would she eat breakfast? What kinds of things would she want to buy? What kinds of things would she want to plan? How is it that she wants to spend her time or her money? So letting each one of these intentions become an energy of their own, and almost imagining that you're bringing them with you everywhere you go, like a little posse of intentions. So how would security want to go to the store and go shopping? How would security want to exercise? So they're each their own person. And in that way, you can really connect to the energy of them. What are they requiring from you? What is it they're asking from you, these intentions? And all these little shifts are how we start to align with what we truly want. Practical manifesting. How we truly align to what we want is staying in connection with the feelings that we're hoping to get from those big goals. I really hope that this has been helpful. I wanted you to be able to see the process in which I set my clients up for success. This is the first thing that we do when we start coaching. It's the first thing we do in each new year. In fact, my clients do it probably 3 or 4 times a year just to continue to imagine that, just to continue to validate that they are still in alignment with what it is that they say that they want. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I would love to connect and see how this has landed for you. I'd love to hear your intentional words and even your goals and your action steps. So share them with me. I'd love to hear from you.